Good morning and welcome to the news on New Day. We come to you live from the John Hammond Street at Kanda here in Accra. My name is Judith Awache Tando. In the headlines this morning. A leadership problem is to blame for Ghana's bleak economy, which is expected to turn around in 30 years. Also this morning, it is commended that the Office of the Special Prosecutor froze the assets and bank accounts of former Minister for Sanitation Cecilia Dapaah. And on the international front, former Niger rebel leader launches anti-coup movement as impasse continues. Details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. Please do stay with us. Well, in our first story, the special prosecutor has filed processes in court to extend ongoing freeze of assets and accounts of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah. The development forms part of investigations into the missing stash of stolen cash by house helps for the former minister. Eric Mawina Ebeta has details.
The troubles of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah appear far from abating after court documents cited by TV3 News pointed to the Office of the Special Prosecutor seeking to have court affirm a freeze of her assets and bank account in relation to ongoing investigations into a missing stash of cash from her home. The former minister has been in the eye of the storm after reporting her house helps for allegedly stealing some $1 million, 300,000 euros, and additional sums of money in Ghana cedis. That has courted wide public disaffection, with many demanding investigation from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Per Section 39 of the Office of the Special Prosecutors Act, when that case, which is expected to be heard next week, is called, the expectation will be that the former Sanitation Minister, Cecilia Dapaah, would be served, and she will be expected to make an appearance where she can defend herself as to why her account and assets should no longer be frozen while investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor continues. On matters of duration as to how long the freeze of her assets can be, what we understand per the law is that the court can grant that the account be frozen for up to 12 months or later. What is important to know as well is that this case, which is being investigated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, is completely different from what is being prosecuted by the Attorney General, which has to do with the missing stash of cash found in the home of the former minister, which has brought about all of this.
We'll bring you more details on this developing story. But moving on, the Member of Parliament for Asawase, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, has proposed the introduction of what he calls congestion charges for tricycles and other transport operators who conduct business within the Kumasi Central Business District. This, he said, will not only generate revenue for the local authorities, but also address congestion and in the Ashanti regional capital.
So once again, the tricycle operators blocked some major roads within the Asukari Mampo municipality to protest against KMA's restriction. But the arrival of the Member of Parliament for Asawase, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, calmed the youth. Muntaka assured them of his resolve to engage with city authorities to address their concerns.
We are engaging with city authorities on this issue. This means we shouldn't also cause any disturbances. That is why I am pleading with you to, for now, comply with KMA's directive. I promise to even join you in a peaceful demonstration to express your grievances if city authorities fail to listen to us.
The lawmaker also appreciated the concerns of KMA and the nuisance some tricycle operators cause, but said city authorities should rather look at a way to regulate their activities rather than restriction.
If you look at the way Kumasi is getting choked, if you see some of the way some of the guys themselves are riding the Pragya, it is called for concern. I mean, so it's very genuine. But what we should not lose sight of as leaders is that you don't solve a problem by creating another problem. You try to solve the problem in a way that is a win-win situation.
For now, the tricycle operators have decided to abide by the restriction whilst awaiting for the outcome of the engagement between the Asawasi Member of Parliament and city authorities. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Now, Ghana is suffering a major leadership crisis. That is the damning verdict of some of the country's most accomplished politicians and experts who joined 3 Business for the latest in its series of thought leadership lectures.
They have been there and done that, worked in major capacities in both the public and private sector, and they reckon Ghana is through a major leadership crisis. Renowned economist Kwame Pienim, pioneering cardiosurgeon Dr. Frimpong Boateng, and veteran politician Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo all agree the country's current economic challenges is undisputably a reflection of bad leadership.
It's a question of leadership.
At some point, I just ask myself, so who is leading us? You have people who have not been voted for, they have no position anywhere, but they appear to be taking decisions and deciding for us and disrespecting us.
A leader is somebody who has a vision. You can't have too many people with vision. But more important, the leader has to have around him executing capacity, that the capacity to execute the vision and not just talk. So when you take Ghana, I pose myself the question, where did we go wrong?
Ghana's economy is in dire straits at the moment, with growth slow and in general distress.
The crisis we are in now, we've never been there before. We are bankrupt as a nation. It is very difficult to increase tax revenue when companies are distressed. And a lot of our companies are distressed.
So how do we get out of this?
He must have integrity. Without that, forget about it.
Does the current leadership we have as a country have integrity?
Absolutely no.
Professor Frimpong Boateng says the country must prioritize advisory bodies who speak truth to power.
In some countries, there will be people behind the scenes from various backgrounds, political, ethnic, who meet and decide and say that, look, this is our country. We are not going to make it go down.
Yeah.
And therefore, they help take decisions. I mean, and I don't think we have anything like that here. A body that is supposed to do that is not doing that.
Contrary to the widely held belief that the 2023 edition of the BEC, which is presently taking place, is the last of its type, the Deputy Education Minister, Reverend John Ntim Fonjo, claims there's no plan to eliminate the basic education certificate examination in the nation.
BEC will continue to be in place. There's no decision whatsoever to write off or jettison BEC. So that notion or that perception should be disregarded. We are going to have the same form as we've been doing. Of course, the test items each year will have it in a different format as WAEC determines, but the standard is going to be the same and is going to be reflective of the curriculum that we have put in place, what they have been taught. That is exactly what is going to cover.
Now to a story which will be watched by most Ghanaian politicians. The World Bank says it is halting new loans to Uganda because its new anti-gay law contradicts its core values. Homosexual acts were already illegal in Uganda, but anyone now convicted faces life imprisonment under the new law, which was enacted in May.
Developments many Ghanaians will be interested in because of the ongoing LGBTQ debate in Parliament. The anti-homosexuality law in Uganda imposes the death penalty for what is described as aggravated cases, which include having gay sex with someone below the age of 18 or where someone is infected with a lifelong illness, including HIV. After deploying a team in May to Uganda, the World Bank released a statement on Tuesday saying the law fundamentally contradicts the World Bank Group's values. As a result, the World Bank says no new public financing to Uganda will be presented to their board of executive directors pending a review of the efficacy of new measures put up in the context of the new legislation. But Uganda's State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Okello Oryem, has queried the consistency of the move compared to other countries, describing it as unjust and hypocritical.
We stay on these subjects now, and a member of parliament for South Dai and a member of the sponsors of the anti-LGBTQ bill in parliament, Roxanne Nelson Dafiameko, says no amount of intimidation and blackmailing from the World Bank would cower them into dropping the proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill.
Ghana is not perturbed by what's happening in Uganda. In any case, the World Bank is a bank for all of us. So it's not a bank for some group of people in this world minus Africa. Africa has 54 nations. And I think that if the World Bank want to blackmail Africa into accepting LGBTQ practices, they are wrong. They are biting more than they can chew. We will not back down today, we will not back down tomorrow. We have a right to seek funding or loans from the World Bank as a member. They cannot deny an African country which is a member of the World Bank Group. The World Bank is set up with the funding from every nation in this world. So I heard the news. I've spoken to a few of my colleagues. In fact, the leader of our group, Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi, has already granted some interviews. We will remain resolute as a country in passing this legislation. And no threat or intimidation from any country or any international organization will cower us into submission. We have already indicated clearly that it even appears that we, the sponsors of this legislation, we have been blacklisted and may not be granted visas to travel to some other countries. But that is also not a border for us. Isn't Saudi Arabia part of the World Bank Group? Don't they have the right to take loans from the World Bank? Isn't all the Muslim countries part of the World Bank Group and the IMF? Don't they take funding from the World Bank? Uganda is one of the first countries to have passed an anti-LGBT law. An European country called Hungary has passed an anti-LGBT law. Why hasn't the World Bank asked them or told them that they will cease funding to Hungary anytime they come for loans or financial assistance? So clearly, it's another opportunity for them to exhibit racist tendencies. So it won't happen in Uganda and it won't happen in Ghana.
Now let's talk about issues in Niger now, and some Ghanaians have called on government to stay clear of any military intervention in the coup-troubled country.
I'm even sure even the army, those who are there, if they tell them to go there and go and fight and kill themselves, for people who are doing the right thing, even if they go, I don't think they will go and kill anybody there. They will just go, I think they'll be paying them some small money. They will take those monies and come back. The army, they are human beings.
As a participatory country in ECOWAS, it is important we give them support. But let's also look at the other way around, because they've given us a warning already. Mr. President, let's abstain. Let's maintain our peace in our country. We beg him. We don't want issue.
I think we don't have to risk our soldiers for that. So I just think that they should let things be, and they should let them be so that they solve their own issues. I believe that if they sit and judge, it will be best.
If the time comes and then the president thinks it's necessary for us to get them additional military men to also maintain peace and order, it's okay.
Meanwhile, ECOWAS is expected to meet later today in Abuja, Nigeria, to discuss its next line of action. Now on to some more stories. There's a new tax on betting wins. Here's a report.
Your football analysis for her, your football expert for her. Our munim bomb yepa. And it's a Ghana Ben who say betting company no sikawum and as a betting sikawuma. On creative group, Sika, ABR 1 billion. no for almost at 22 bet ni bi so almost dia sika your group na ne dia na me bia me ye adwuma me taxi driver bia me tonku bia me manya once de me de kwatwa bet also bet 10% also sika na baba dem mobile money nso so obasan so ati levy also me de sika na bato bank obasan so ati tax also and sika na me de I hand ba me
for my side they are not good. What our flight I can't shop maybe 100 cedi. We can't say 10 cedi for topper. What you want show me? That one me I not go like. If sake of that, me I go show the stake bets.
Me you see every day they work. You see every day they online. So what these people they do no good. It left small. If you they go public toilet safe, they go tell you task. Yeah. See somebody go struggle and sometimes if we they sleep, so we know they feel sleep. We they try everything possible. Say make we work get something. Then you go tell say they take 10% out of it. Then you go take the betting company to 20% or 30%. Very very bad.
You know, you might go. You want to watch your 10%. I'm not going to go. You get no vim and boom betting when you go. Nine mobile money levi abonete e na to bu de ba bo ma wa go e go jo da ba e we ku no go agba wona.
Now, on the international front, a former rebel leader and politician in Niger has launched a movement opposing the military government that took power in a July 26 coup, a first sign of internal resistance to army rule in the strategically important Sahel country. In a statement, Risa Baoula said his new Council of Resistance for the Republic aims to reinstate overthrown President Mohamed Bazoum, who has been in detention at his residence since the takeover. The announcement comes as diplomatic efforts to reverse the coup have stalled after the military government rejected the latest diplomatic mission from the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States. Niger's coup leaders denied entry into Africa and United Nations envoys on Tuesday to negotiate before a summit on Thursday, at which heads of state from the ECOWAS will discuss the possible use of force. And that's all for the 6 a.m. news here on TV3. My name is Judith Awache Tando, and of course, Roland and Bella are with me in the studio with the rest of New Day. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, and you?
I'm well.
We did inside. Every day we did inside. There's nowhere else to go, so yeah, I guess you have to manage.
Yeah, you go to Niger. Niger.
Pardon?
Pardon?
What am I going to do there? To help ECOWAS or?
Oh, you just go and make sure that usually the onions that we bring, you are able to ship them through Burkina Faso to Ghana.
That won't be a bad business, though. But
to Ajin Kotoku.
I understand the finance minister says we should become entrepreneurs, but please, this one here, you are sending me a little too. It's too risky.
No, but we just
can't die for onions.
But we just had Wonderland go through those places. Is it not Wonderlust?
Yes.
They just went through.
But they didn't go to Niger for onions. I mean, maybe Judith will do that. She looks very passionate about, you seem very passionate about the fact that